What's good, people? Agent Juice reporting for duty. In today's jaw-dropping and spectacular episode of Drawing Inspiration, you won't believe what happens next. I've decided to revisit a character and cartoon show that I've covered in the past, and in different formats. And once again, I am going to be speed painting #BestGem Peridot from Steven Universe. And yes, she's still Best Gem, and no, you still can't at me. Why in Sam Hill am I speed painting Peridot again, you ask? Well, first of all, it's my channel, and I can do what I want. You're not the boss of me now, and you're not so big. Secondly, I want to try to do more of a close-up drawing of Peridot with her new V-shaped visor she gets in the finale. Spoiler alert, she gets new glasses. And finally, I just wanted to further muse on what I like about Peridot and Steven Universe, and what I wish to glean from both. So, let's get on with it. In my previous Peridot speed paint video, which I will link to somewhere on the screen, I made mention that Peridot is my favorite gem on the show because she's the most interesting one to see on screen. This most interesting character on screen spiel is one that my returning viewers are familiar with. But for you filthy plebeian newcomers, I shall fill you in. I believe that the most interesting character on screen, at a given moment, is the one going through the most turmoil, because they generate the most drama and thus create the most interesting story to watch. When we're first introduced to Peridot, we actually don't know much about her, and she presents herself as a cool and calculating individual that poses a viable threat to a main cast. As the series goes on, however, Peridot goes through difficulties that wear down her facade of a calculating villain and shows that in reality, she's just a manic mess. Trapped on Earth with no means of returning to the gem homeworld, Peridot has a full-on meltdown and is forced to adapt to living on Earth, which puts her miles out of her comfort zone. And all that while, we get to witness her freak out over the whole situation. And my word, is it juicy. Her freak out comes to a head when she learns to love the Earth and tries to negotiate with her supreme commander that shall not be disobeyed, Yellow Diamond, and tries to convince her to not blow up the Earth. Yellow Diamond, however, doesn't want to discuss the matter, and in sheer frustration, Peridot tells her off, basically committing treason. The whole arc of her adjusting to Earth and telling off Yellow Diamond and having a mental breakdown over the whole ordeal is some of the best moments in the entire series, and the reason why I have officially dubbed Peridot official best gem by the powers invested in me by me. I wish to draw inspiration from that level of identity crisis and emotional turmoil. It makes for a really fascinating character arc, especially because of our initial impression of Peridot as a mysterious individual. There's something uniquely fascinating about seeing someone so apparently cool and in control to be thrown completely out of whack, and, in the process, reveal a whole new vulnerable side of their personality that before seemed inconceivable. As for Steven Universe as a show, divorced from Peridot, the part I draw the most inspiration from has to be the sheer cleverness of the world building, particularly everything about the gems as a species and society. The whole deal about the caste system based on what kind of gem you are is really neat. And the whole thing about rebelling against what you were made for is kind of a big deal, and the fact that gems find humans so fascinating because of the fact that they, unlike themselves, are not carved in stone and thus can change. It's a really nice metaphor for breaking out of a mold. But I do have to say that one of the coolest and honestly most disturbing parts of the gems has to be their homeworld. It has this very clean, geometric, and perfect atmosphere to everything. It's so perfect, it's actually kind of creepy in that uncanny valley kind of way. Two scenes in particular that really exemplify that uncanny valley creep factor for me is a very brief moment where Steven is walking through a hallway to meet one of the diamonds or something like that. And the walls of the hallway are gems. Like, they're living, breathing gems with faces and everything. And they're all gossiping amongst each other, and Steven takes notice, and the living walls notice that he notices them, and they all shut up. It's pretty surreal. The second scene is actually a part where there's this big old ballroom dance sequence to celebrate the diamonds or whatever. And all these different gems in different geometric shapes start dancing in these predetermined robotic patterns. It's a beautifully structured scene, but again, it triggers this uncanny valley effect in me that makes the scene creepy, and I love it. Whether or not having the gem homeworld be an uncanny valley nightmare fest of geometric perfection was Rebecca Sugar's intention or not, it was still very well done and adds a lot to the overall feel of the show. That kind of deep connection with character turmoil and amazing unique world building ultimately is what inspires me about Peridot and Steven Universe, and are things I wish to accomplish in my own work as well. So, that being said, I think this is a good place to go ahead and wrap it up for now. So, if you enjoyed yourself and wish to see more, then I beseech thee to delicately violate the sacred buttons. And also to comment below and let me know your thoughts. It helps the channel out in the algorithm, and I'm always curious to hear what you have to say. In addition, you can always find me elsewhere in various social media sites that I'll link in the description box down below. And with all that said, I thank you for spending this time with me. I hope you all stick around, and until next time, deuces.